Hey! This time we actually got it like on time.
On time?
Hello, peoples. The Book of Faces. Welcome to the live at the range. We got Rich out of the gunsmithing room, so he's like in the face tubes.
Face tubes?
Face tubes in the book.
The FaceTimes?
Yes, the face. No, that's a different thing. That's an Apple thing. No, different entirely.
The face space?
We're on the, yes, the face space. The my face. My face space.
My face space time.
My face you? No, my face tube?
Careful.
You're terrible. Welcome, peoples. So we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to run over stuffs, and then we're going to talk about fun toys and the differences in kind of what you can do when building an AR. So first up, we got all kinds of fun stuff going on at the range, as always. We had the SIG LE event going on right now. There are still a bunch of LE guys downstairs doing whatever kind of shooting stuff and learning stuff
bunch of shooting, moving.
Yeah, Max Michel was here, and for all those that didn't get to see him and really like feel bad about it, believe me, we all feel bad because I didn't even get to meet him either. And I mean, I'm here, and I knew he was here, but he was doing like training stuffs and learning stuffs with the LE guys, and so I didn't want to necessarily interrupt there. And he didn't get to, we didn't get to do any like public stuff with him, so we've already got tidbits on, hey, how do we get him to come back in and do a thing? So stay tuned for that. As soon as we get info on that, we'll let you guys know. We got Smith & Wesson going to be in tomorrow for the Armorer's course. I know you've taken that a couple of times.
Yep, I'm in that one again tomorrow.
Yep.
I think Benny's in it.
I'm in it. Cam's in it.
I think it's just us four.
Yeah, I think it's just us four. So we'll have a bunch of new Smith & Wesson Armorers around on staff. We have the U.S. Marine Corps charity match coming up on Saturday. There are still spots open. I know there's like not a whole lot of people signed up through Practice Score, so jump on and get signed up through Practice Score. That'll guarantee that you're in there. And then we got a bunch of people you can just walk in on Saturday morning.
Yeah, super fun
Sign
event.
up start at 8. Shooting starts at 9, so get here nice and early. 8 a.m., 8:15 if you can't get there by 8. That way you can get signed up, have a little bit of time. Shooters meeting will be before that, and I think first shots somewhere around 9 o'clock. Lots of fun on that match. Lots of fun. So Dustin's got some fun stages all planned out, and you know, never know. Probably eating crayons or that kind of thing.
Well, Phil eats all the orange ones.
Well, yeah, that is where you'll have to get brand new crayons, and we'll open up brand new crayon boxes because
can you
some
order
of them
just
like
orange
green.
crayons?
I don't know. There is a guy, I saw a thing where the guy is like collecting crayons, and then like he remelts them down and like makes bigger crayons. That way it doesn't slip through the Marine Corps fingers as easy.
Confuses them too.
Well, yeah, it's like a king size snack bar. So, yeah. We got defensive handgun on Sunday. I think there's a couple of spots open for that one.
Yep.
Next Thursday.
America.
243rd birthday for the America. As a heads up, we will not be open. We are all going to be with family and friends, as should you all. So don't come here. Come here Wednesday, come here Friday, just not Thursday.
Don't come Thursday.
And then we got CCW next Saturday.
Yep.
So
still seats on that one, I believe.
as always, lots of fun stuff happening at the range. So get signed up for good stuff, good classes, do learning. We had the teachers trauma thing. A lot of good feedback from that. Some of you may have seen some of the pictures of Phil's kids all bloody and stuff. And man, just it's a freaky thing.
I wanted to bring Riley up here. I thought it was in the evening instead of the morning. We were off that day and we missed out, but she can watch the videos.
Yeah, I don't know if she'd necessarily be ready for that. Like, it's kind of a gross situation. I don't know if I was ready for that. But, you know, sometimes.
And for all you guys that are members, we still have a few more days that if you buy a class, you get one half off. So if there's any of these classes that you're interested in taking, now's kind of the time to do it. Yeah. The only other time we really do something like this is around Christmas, ain't it?
Yeah,
we do the buy one.
I think Christmas time or
Christmas,
November,
buy one, get one,
December, somewhere around there. You'll get a buy one, get one, but that's a ways off, and you got plenty of time for training in between then. And remember, anytime that you take a class from us, at any point in the future you want to retake the class, it costs you $0. Just give us a call. Hey, I want to do, I see this date. We got spots. Boom, we throw you in there. So awesome.
I want to shout out to the guys who took our Shotgun 2 class yesterday. They got beat up the 150 rounds of double-aught buck.
150 rounds of double-aught buck a piece, right?
And they had to put up with you, didn't they?
And they had to put up with me.
And listening to Phil.
Yeah.
Like, huge shout out to you guys. And I'm pretty sure everybody survived. There was no trauma class needed for that one, so
Correct.
that's a good thing. Good
For
thing.
those
Good
of you
job,
that have
Phil.
not taken a class with Phil, if he is teaching a class down in the range and it's quiet in the showroom, you can hear him yelling through the floor, which is solid
Yeah.
concrete.
Not yelling at people.
I'm sorry,
To.
giving
Yes.
commands,
Yes,
but has a
Yells
very
to
powerful voice.
he projects it well, very well. So,
I always joke that I bet his kids pee just a little every time he raises his voice at home.
if it was me, I'd probably pee a lot. I mean, Phil's intimidating.
I don't know how Dustin sits back there with him sometimes.
Oh, because Dustin's different. He's a diva. They're different people. You know that. So in the news, I don't know if you guys all saw that, but Officer Michael Langsford, they announced the funeral arrangements. So visitation will be Sunday from noon to 6 at Hofmeister Colonial Mortuary. And then the funeral service is actually Monday at 10 a.m. at the Cathedral Basilica in St. Louis. So if you need more info, hit us up. We'll get that over to you. But just in case anybody wants that, those are your dates and times. Very, very unfortunate thing.
Happening
We're not
way
going to
too
kind of
often.
touch on that because it's
Bad.
but anyway. So on to some good stuff that is happening from people around here, though. There is a 10-year-old, Zachariah. I don't know his last name, but his name's Zachariah, and he's raising money for the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. He's jogging 1 mile for every officer that has lost their lives in 2018 and 2019. So last year, this little kid, who was 9 years old at the time, raised $11,250 for the foundation.
That's awesome.
And he's dedicated to carrying on the honor of Stephen Siller and Wallen Stewart and all the first responders from 9/11. So far, this little kid at 10 years old has raised $44,000
That's awesome.
for this foundation.
Gives me goosebumps.
He's got a goal of $50,000. So I don't doubt this kid at
No,
all.
not at all.
I mean, that is awesome. So for every bad thing, there's somebody out there doing some good things. So that's awesome. So let's get into something a little more lighthearted. ARs.
Pew-pews.
All the ARs. We got a few that we pulled out between Rich and I. Just grabbed some basics, and then we did grab one off the wall to kind of show you what the uber
It's
basic
sad this is just kind of stuff we just kind of grabbed this morning.
Well, yeah, I tried to just grab a couple of things that just kind of showed the different aspects of things you can do. And obviously this is kind of the old school where you got the carry handle, the A2 front post, and depending on what you call these things, glacier guards or otherwise. This is where you start, or where a lot of people started.
Yep.
And kind of the coolest part about the AR is that it's modular. So everything can be swapped out. The only real things that you don't necessarily have much of an ability of swapping out, because they're kind of like the integral parts,
Right.
are these two parts. So you have your upper and your lower. So you have obviously your strip lower. They come in a bunch of different configurations. The two main differences is one's going to be forged and then one's going to be milled. So the milled ones are going to be out of a block of billet aluminum.
Yep.
The forged ones are just a chunk of aluminum that just hammer into shape. The internet warriors are going to go back and forth on which one is better, but the metallurgy guys are going to generally tell you that forged things are stronger than billet. You can get impurities and variances in the billet.
Yep. Most of that high dollar
ends up-
billet though is pretty solid.
Yeah, and that's where you get into the internet warriors going back and forth on which one is better. The real difference is your forged, you're going to have the same plain Jane M4 AR original kind of a overall shape. There's not really a whole lot of fancy to it. They do have now an ability of integrating the trigger guard into it, and most of those that have the integrated trigger guard are going to have what we used to call the extended or winter or glove style, where it drops down a little bit instead of being perfectly flat like the actual original style. So, but you can get them either completely built, totally stripped, or there is the 80% out there.
Yeah.
If you haven't built an AR before, don't try the 80. I've seen a lot of people wreck those things. Can it be done? Yes, I have personally done one. It turned out pretty good. But I have seen plenty that didn't.
You get one of those pins out of spec, and you got the potential for the first time you go fire that thing that it's going to run away on you.
Yeah, so the most important thing is going to be these two pinholes, which is what locates and centers your actual trigger components, and then the safety. The safety, while not necessarily necessary for things to work correctly, it is necessary in order to keep things safe. And so those are your three main sides that need to be done. The inside is literally just opening it up enough that you can put trigger components in, whether it be the 5-piece standard mil spec trigger or one of your new, more modern drop-in triggers. But like you point out, if they're not in the right spot, bad stuff can happen.
No go
or
banging,
no stuff
or
can happen.
go banging until mag empty.
Yeah. The other side of that is going to be the upper receiver. The upper receiver is a little bit different in that you've got a little more variation in the options. Still have a forged or a billet, but you're going to get a lot different kind of I guess options on the upper as to what it looks like, what features
you get
it
different
has
rail
in there.
configurations, different rail heights.
Yeah. So sticking with standard AR-15, it's pretty nice because all of the uppers will go on the lowers, with a few exceptions, and almost all of the lowers will work with almost all the uppers. So that's the side of things that these don't necessarily have anything to do with accuracy. There can be some argument on the barrel lockup and so forth, but generally speaking, there's nothing really that has to be fancy about these two components. It's all the other components that really make or break a good rifle.
Right.
What Phil? He's got that crazy look on his
Here's
face.
my phone.
Uh-oh. Don't look at it, he's gonna yell.
Quit looking at your phone.
See?
I'm turning the.
See, he's already getting feisty. So, but anyway,
do the face
we do an armorer's course.
Yep, got one
You
coming
teach
up
that, right?
13th to 14th of July. Still have 5 seats available in it, and we will teach you how to take that to this.
Which one of these?
We tear these guns down completely apart.
Not these,
No,
but others.
4 to 5 times. We take every single pin, spring, detent out of these guns. It's a 2-day course. It's a 16-hour course. It's $400. It's a lot of fun.
Explaining as to what all the components do
Yep.
as well, right?
We go into, we've got some animations of how the full auto works and the 3-round burst. You get handouts and all of that. There's a lot of information there, especially if you're getting into the AR world for the first time, or you've had one for a while, and with the popularity of pistols, you want to build one. Pistols are cool. I own a few. They're
think we
great.
got one somewhere
Yeah, there's
in this
one buried
pile.
in here somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with the class. We'll have a little competition just to see who can put it together the first time correctly at the end of day 2, and you guys get may or may not get some little swag, fun stuff
You
at
will.
the end of the course.
You will.
Okay, you will get some
Right.
little fun swaggy stuff,
Right.
of course.
We do a bunch of giveaway stuffs, and it's a lot of fun. It's a very interesting course. It is very in depth. I mean, you're not doing any machining in the class,
Nope.
but
We go into malfunctions.
with ARs, you really don't have to do machining. There's
Most of your
virtually
ARs
nothing you should have to really machine in any AR build. It's really more of like an assembly process than it is an actual building,
Right.
so to speak. But this is a ton of fun to do.
Right.
So jump in, sign up for the class. At some point, we will work on being able to actually pull parts together and actually build your own rifle. That way you can build it and then leave with it. But
That's in the works.
we still got to do some hoop jumping and
Yes, a little bit of hoop
crossing Ts,
jumping,
dotting I's,
and that's
and
all
so
in the
forth.
process. So
yeah. So we got T's being crossed now, I's being dotted soon, and so let's get into some of the different stuffs. What do we got here? We got what's this one? This one's one of yours.
Yeah, that's
So,
one of mine. Started its life as a Rock River operator. I know everybody's like operator.
The operator.
Just kind of changed it up a little bit. Put an 18-inch fluted stainless barrel in it. It's kind of my long-range AR. It's got a 4 to 12 Nikon on top of it. Shoots really smooth.
So the flutes, for those that may not know, the fluting on the barrel is just so that you can have a thicker overall diameter, but yet have additional cooling surface. Obviously, you have more surface area with the flutes. It also removes a lot of the metal, so it actually removes a lot of the weight.
Yep.
And so it's
And you can get different compensators or flash hiders for the end of them
yeah, I don't know if
that
any
will make these guns
these have
act
the same one.
completely different.
No, none of these have the same thing. So, yeah, your compensator is going to make a big difference on the recoil and what the gun does in its function, in its cycle, so to speak. So,
I think all these are gas guns too.
yeah,
I don't think I have any
I believe
piston guns.
Yeah, I don't have any piston guns. I do have a Adams lower on one of them, but
one's
you
got
got different stocks, different charging handles, and so forth that you can have access to, and some of the tricks of the trades.
Jokingly, we tell people it's kind of like Barbie for men, or Legos.
Legos, yeah, I prefer the Lego.
I like
option.
Barbie though. Ooh, pink.
You can tell by that pink. What is that you have on there?
So this is actually my daughter's gun, one of them. It's a Smith & Wesson 1522. It's an AR platform, shoots 22 long rifle. She wanted her own AR, so I got a Magpul stock and grip for it. And these are Ergo rail covers, and put a Bushnell actually makes an AR-22 scope, which is a awesome optic for a 22. And she didn't know I was bringing this today. She kind of gets testy when I start touching her gun, which is kind of funny because she's
now
11.
the difference between that one and this one, or any of these, is what?
So the biggest difference between these and a regular AR is most of your 22 ARs are polymer or plastic. Just simply for they're lighter, they're cheaper to make, and they don't take the beating that a standard 223 or 5.56 will take. Other than that, the Smith & Wesson particularly breaks down, the controls, everything are identical to a standard AR-15, which is great for cleaning, just for repetition. I've got another one of these. Training. I got another one of these I take out and play with in the woods because I don't want to burn up $500 of ammo when I can burn up $40 of ammo and get the same thing. Other than that, they're pretty much identical. I mean, you can take a trigger out of one of these and drop it in this
Trigger
gun.
components, safety selectors. Handguards are a little bit tricky.
Yeah, on the 22s.
But, charging handles, I know that there are a couple. I believe Next Level Armament has a 22 specific charging handle as well. But they're really kind of cool for training purposes and so forth. You can set that one up just like your regular full size, your regular, AR. And a lot of us competition guys will do that because then you can get, like you pointed out, instead of $500 worth of ammo, it's $40 worth of ammo. You're still shooting rounds, you're still getting everything, you can work on transitions and so forth. The other option is something simple like this. This is a kit from CMMG that replaces your bolt carrier group. out of your standard AR and converts it over so it just takes 22s. So this one, literally, you can use your regular AR, swap that in, you use different mags, so you have little baby mags. And so you can convert a standard AR into a 22 AR in a matter of moments. And they do work with full autos too, so it's got some other components you have to do that
little tricky.
They kind of make it trick, but awesome set. I mean, I've got thousands upon thousands of rounds on this thing. My youngest daughter just absolutely loves it, and she'll just go through and stuffs mags as fast as she can, sticks it in, runs it dry, and then looks over and goes, "Can I load it again?" Yeah. And she'll load it again and
tear up just a little bit.
Run it through again. Oh, dude, she has a blast with that thing.
I taught my daughter to shoot when she was 6, and 5 rounds into it, at 25 yards, she was drilling a 2-inch sticker with a Savage 22 bolt gun. She was so small. She's right-handed. She's holding onto the stock with her right hand, the trigger guard with her left, and pulling the trigger with her thumb.
Yeah.
And I was so happy I couldn't load the little 5-round mags quick enough.
Yeah, and see, it's so much fun. And then it's something simple, like a lot of these guns have just a simple red dot on them. One of the advantages I like about the red dot on an AR is, especially with newer kids to shooting, is it simplifies things for them. So you just say, put the thing on whatever thing you're trying to hit, and then just pull the thing. So you put the thing on the thing and then pull the thing, and it just makes it simple for it. And they're able to hit what they're trying to hit, and it gets them excited about actually hitting what it is. I understand we should all know how to use iron sights. So you have iron sights on some of these things, and they're great to have. But when you're new to the shooting, what I found with my younger one is it was much easier for her to just put the thing on the thing and pull the thing and hit what she was wanting to hit, and that way she's excited. Yep. So you stick a soda can out there, and they're plinking and putting holes in the can, and they're ecstatic about it. And then you go, here, let's step up a little bit. Now let's try and line these sights up. Put the stick on the front, put that right where you want it, and center it in that back circle. And then they're able to do that, and they have an understanding about what's going to happen with everything. And when they're not hitting the can, they have an understanding that, well, this gun hits the can, so obviously I've got to maybe do some tweaking on this thing. They kind of tweak it in there, they get those first hits, and that's when you kind of see the eyes light up. They're like, okay, yeah, this isn't as scary, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Backup sights or iron sights are great to have. Most of these have some sort of backup sights on them, with the exception of a few of them, like my comp gun here, my 3-gun gun.
Just for an example, Chris, I may or may not have thrown that together the other night in under 15 minutes.
Yeah.
From a strip blower.
Oh, and it's a Powery Pony on the bottom. Anderson.
It is an Anderson upper and lower.
Simple.
I always do try to match my upper and lower. So if you buy an Anderson lower, try to buy an Anderson upper. It's just a me thing. I've got mixed matched AR parts, and they all run just fine.
Yeah. I don't worry as much about that kind of thing. There's some tweaks that you can do. Accessory wedges are one thing. That's a little chunk of rubber that basically goes underneath your rear takedown pin. That kind of just puts a little pressure on the back of the receiver. The upper and lower, you'll see some of them where they have a little bit of wiggle. Doesn't really hurt anything. It's really more of an annoyance factor for those that don't like that, because it doesn't make the gun any less accurate. Your upper, your barrel, those things are fixed. So as long as you don't have any wobble in the handguard,
as long as barrel move, gun shoot good.
Yeah, you're fine. Your optics are all going to mount to the top of them, the top of the upper, and so they're not doing the moving.
Yeah. So as long as your barrel's tight and true, then your optic's going to stay true to your barrel.
So very simple to build. I have none that I have bought. They've all been built.
I don't know when the last time I bought an AR.
Yeah, I personally don't buy them, I just build them. And that's so that you can have a little bit of something that you want, the way you want it, the first go around without having to dump it in. But again, you can start off with something, I'm about to throw your guns down.
It's okay. Wouldn't be the first time they've been slammed around.
Well, this one, it might be the first time because it was just built yesterday. So, but you can start with something like this. It's a very popular platform as far as the overall basics, not necessarily this particular brand, but the overall design. Nowadays, most of your carry handles are going to be removable. Like this one is removable. So 2 pins that comes off. Don't even worry about it. See, you're on camera, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I'm ruining Phil's show.
Yeah, and you can do all kinds of things like that. The butt
Stocks comes right off.
Super basic. It functions. It works. It does have the sling loop on the bottom of it. They're generally all the M4 style is all an adjustable stock. They do have fixed stocks that you can get on more of like the A1 styles and the A2 styles, but obviously most of us are like that variation option. So it's just different strokes for different folks. You got a bayonet lug on the bottom there, so you can do bayonet things with your friends.
You ever have to use that bayonet lug, you're probably already in a bad spot.
Or in the Red October match over in Sparta, they do have a couple of stages.
I don't
where
get to
you can
shoot the fun
actually use
competition stuff, so I don't.
No, you just don't shoot the fun
I've never
competition
been
stuff.
asked.
You don't have to ask. You just sign up. You just sign up, show up. All of you guys, just sign up, show up, do the shooting. You literally, it's.
Sign up, show up, shoot. I like it.
Yeah,
Sign up, show up, shoot, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Shut up, sign up, show up, shoot.
So it's shut up, sign up.
Show up, shoot.
Yeah, quit coming up with excuses as to, oh, I was never asked.
Okay.
And just shut up, sign up, show up, and then do the shooting. You literally, it's like another activity that, since we're family friendly, we won't talk about, but it's like another activity. You do not have to be good at it to enjoy it. You really don't. You show up. The first 3-gun match I ever shot, I had at most put, I think, a mag, maybe 2 mags through pistol at any given time. Not even the pistol I was using there. And I showed up. A buddy of mine loaned me a pistol and a holster, and I think 2 or 3 mags, and I stuck it to my belt, and I built, let's see, I built this. Oh man, it's all the way at the bottom too, of course. We got all kinds of
This one. A bottle of water on the bed table. Good job.
Where'd it go? So I built this gun finished it on Friday. Saturday morning, I woke up nice and early, went out, put 30 rounds through it to make sure that my sights were lined up, and went out and shot a 3-gun match. And
Nice.
I did not do very well, but I had a lot of fun. I had a borrowed shotgun, a borrowed rifle, well, a built rifle, a borrowed pistol, borrowed shotgun, no clue what I was doing, and had an absolute blast, and it hooked me, and so I began to build this one.
I shot that one. That one shoots nice.
Yeah, this one's probably my favorite that I have. It runs like a dream. It's got probably 15,000 rounds through it. We were down in Texas, and 2 guys it was not their rifle, but 2 other guys were having a competition, and so they were shooting a 5.56 casing at 100 yards. One of them hit it on the 2nd shot, one of them hit it on the 4th or 5th shot, something like that. So, I mean, the thing's dead on accurate still. You can hit shots out to 600 yards. I've shot out to 600 yards.
You're pinging steel just fine with it.
Yeah. So you have all kinds of, like I said, you have all kinds of different options that you can have. This one doesn't have any kind of backup sights on it, but it's a competition gun. If my optic goes bad or it goes off of 0, I mean, it doesn't really hurt me too much. Obviously, my shots are going to be off. I'm going to sacrifice some points in the match, but losing a match is no big deal. It happens, and so This one is more of like a bump in the night kind of thing. Same with this one. So you've got lights and so forth, so you can do light stuffs, nighttime things. It's got backup sights on there. It also has a regular red dot on there, so it's nice and simple. And just
or you can do little guy
or
things.
you go to the pistol route, which has become a bigger and bigger thing. Clearly, this doesn't have an actual stock. It is an arm brace. And you are free to misuse your firearms however you'd like. So it wasn't designed to be fired from the shoulder, but if, how do they word it? If it's situationally or occasionally or
arm gets tired,
whatever.
Something
There's
weird.
like a list of like 3 or 4 different terms they use, but in
There's
a
a
nutshell,
gray area
when you
about
boil
30
it all
miles
down,
wide.
it comes to you can misuse your firearm as you need to. But so pistols have really become a rage nowadays. It gives you the ability of doing a less than 16-inch barrel and it not being a rifle that way because it doesn't have a stock. You cannot put a vertical grip on there, but they have said that the angled foregrip and hand stops and so forth are not vertical foregrips, so it does not make them designed to be fired with 2 hands. So, yeah. That is the only downside to building an AR. You do have to get some knowledge on the basics of what makes a what.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of different things. Most of these are all rifles. They all have barrels that are 16 inches long, but then you have ones that are 14.5 inches long, and the way the law reads, if the barrel is less than 16 inches, then you have to have a muzzle brake that is pinned and welded onto the end of it so that it
becomes part of the barrel.
Permanently affixed to the end of it is kind of their wording on it. And that way it does become something that's measurable on the barrel. So this one has a 14.5-inch barrel with a 1.75-inch muzzle brake on the end of it. This happens to be the VG6 Epsilon Slim, so I can still get my gas tube off it. And it's been welded to the end of it, so it is permanently affixed now, but it gives me a little bit shorter package. You know, it's only 1.5 inches, but hey, I'll take the extra 1.5 inches shorter for inside buildings and doing the around the corner stuffs.
That's why I like this.
And then you go to much shorter than 16, but you can't have a stock. If you put a stock on the back end of it, then you get to file for a $200 tax stamp. You get to file a whole bunch of paperwork, fingerprints, and submit to a nice long wait from the ATF. And eventually they say, okay, you're good. You can now exercise your Second Amendment right. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my world, but that's what we get for people that don't know about guns, writing laws about guns.
That's what I like about this. This is Gear Headworks, their tail hook adjustable brace. It actually flips out, so you can use it as a brace. It'd be kind of uncomfortable to shoot it that way, but
no. But there is, you know, a lot of people say they don't understand what the brace. I'm personally, I think the brace is an awesome idea, based on the original reason as to why it was created. There was I don't remember if he was some sort of military vet that had served our country and had been injured. And so he had arm injuries. It did not allow him to actually hold his AR properly and fire it controllably. And he went to a range and was struggling with it. And he got kicked out of the range because and it's one of them things that's hard to argue with the range director. And he's basically said, well, you can't comfortably fire that gun and control that gun in your situation. And I watched you and you just can't do it. So you can't shoot here. So he got booted, and this is a guy that, like I said, he served our country. So he started talking to one of his buddies who happened to be a marketing guy over at Sig Sauer, and they were like, well, let's figure out a way to strap this thing to your arm. So they strapped it to his arm, and he went back and was able to strap it to his arm and able to fire, and it was the first time he wasn't able to get kicked out anymore because now he could controllably handle his weapon. Is that rain?
sounds like rain.
That's awesome. It was like just blue skies just a moment ago.
Welcome to Missouri.
So when that happened, it was kind of an eye-opening experience that allowed this guy, as a disabled vet, to get out and go shooting again. From there, they've gone all over the place, and you've got all kinds of different options, from the Gearhead Works tail hook, you've got the stabilizer wing thing that I think is just the dumbest thing that they've come out with.
Shockwave, no.
Yeah, the Shockwave, anyway.
Blade.
The blade thing, I think is dumb. But then you got like SB Tactical, who branched away from Sig Sauer, because it originally was the Sig Sauer arm brace. They broke away from it, became SB Tactical, and they have come out with just a ton of cool products. Not just for ARs anymore. They've got MP5s, they've got Scorpions and AKs.
They're really breaking
all kinds of other options now. And I personally think the SB Tactical stuff is really, really nice. You got a lot of options there. They just came out with the SBA4 this year. We got to see it at SHOT Show, their prototype. They just started shipping. We have a couple of them here. They're awesome.
We got the 4s in?
Yes.
Nice.
So we got the 3s and the 4s. 3s are more of a minimalistic style. The 4s are a little bit more of a, kind of looks like a standard M4 style stock, but it's a brace. It's
and I think the 4s feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I really like the 4s.
They've got a much wider
getting one of those
base on top, which some of my rifles here, I've got a nice wide cheek rest back here, which I kind of like.
So the basics to accuracy is a good trigger and a good barrel. It's really all you need. I mean, there is some caveats to the, I don't know where it went, the Stag. When you have something where it's got that fixed front sight and a two-piece handguard, there is an accuracy loss because of that fact that it is mounted to the barrel here as well as here. So you have deflection that can happen, and it doesn't happen here, but it only happens here. So there is a bit of a variance that can happen. So going to a free float rail, there's a ton of different options out there, but going to a free float rail, you end up going with a low profile gas block. I've seen guys that literally just cut the top of the sight off of their fixed sight, just literally cut it with a grinder, and you can fit a free float rail on there.
Don't go too far.
Be careful, because that is your gas tube as well.
Yes. You don't want to cut into that gas port.
Yeah, so, but you've got the gas block up there. So going to something where it's just simply a nice, good barrel, a quality barrel, and you can find them all over the place. If it's under $100, it is not considered a quality, accurate barrel. Yes, you can find them out there, but they're just not really quality. And they might shoot just fine for you. You're different. But then going to a free float rail, you do gain a little bit of accuracy out of it. Good barrel and a trigger. Lighter is not necessarily better. However, the less that you have to impart any kind of a force onto the trigger face, the less likely you are to start deviating those sights. And the key to accuracy is, pull the trigger to the rear without disturbing the sights. Then whatever you're looking at, whatever you're pointing at, is going to hit right there. So get a nice trigger. That'd be the first upgrade that I would say on a standard gun. Get a good trigger. Upgrade a barrel if you can. Go to free float rail. Put a set of good optics on top, and you're absolutely golden. So other than that, it's all cosmetic, and what grip feels the best to you, what handguard looks the best to you, what stock feels the best to you or looks the best. Make it look cool. I'm a big proponent to spray paint, because if you screw it up, it's one can of brake cleaner away from going back to black, and then you can try it again. But there are all kinds of other coatings that you have out there. You have like the Cerakote, Duracoat, JG, the KG gun coats or whatever it is. So there's lots of different other painting options. These are obviously going to be much more durable. They're a bake on or an air dry over a series of like a week for them to dry out. Spray paint.
Biggest thing is preparation.
It rubs off real quick, or fairly quick, and then it ends up looking kind of beat up. And personally, I kind of like it that way.
If you have a pretty gun, then you're not having fun with it.
Yeah, I have one gun that's still black, and that's my Mutant, and that's because it's the oddball, and so I figured
It's okay. I got Vinny back there with spray paint right now fixing that.
No, it's the oddball out of the group because it's the only one that is still black, and it's the oddball out of the group because
when we're done with it, it'll
AK
match
mags.
this.
Mike, help me out on this, buddy.
And your daughter's back there with it.
Yeah, I don't doubt. My daughter's not much of a pink fan though, so I'm good on that.
She's adding her personal touches.
No. No. Mike Odell will come save me if that's yeah, no. No, the Mutant can stay black. It may get a little bit of dress up at some point, but I kind of like it being the oddball, and it's the only one that's black still. So,
Biggest benefit of building these things is you can build what you want, the way you want it, and it's cool.
And for whatever purpose you want, yeah.
It's cool to sit down and be like, hey, and, you know, somebody says, oh man, that's an awesome rifle. Where'd you get it? Well, I built that one. What? And then you get a little excitement there, and when I put that one together, I was organizing parts the other night, and I'm like, I got another gun sitting here. I'll throw it together.
And that's what happens a lot of times when you start off with one of these. You know, you can get an AR. We'll just say you can get them pretty cheap. I wouldn't suggest anybody spend less than $500 on one. Can you? Yes. Can you get one that works? Yes. It's gonna be a lot of funk, so
that's kind of what this one started off as. This was just a standard Rock River LAR-15 when I got it. Had a plastic handguard on the front. Had an A2 sight on it, and I've got a retarded amount of money tied up in this already.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing is you can start with a rifle like this, and I think this one, this Stag goes for like $800 or something like that,
which is an awesome entry level gun.
Yeah, it's
this gun will do everything this gun will do.
Generally speaking, yes. Yes.
Most people will not outshoot their guns.
You are totally correct there. That's the other thing on the accuracy is that a lot of us can't even outshoot the base guns. So we build these cool ones just so we can have the cool one. And I mean, looking cool is like at least 9 out of 10 of the points. So
part of it.
If you just make it look cool, clearly you're a better shooter that way. Maybe not, but I'm gonna still go with that because my guns look cool. I'm not a very good shooter, but my guns are cool, so therefore I am a good shooter. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. So you can start off with a gun like this, and then, you know, $30 to $50 on a different gas block, between $100 and $200 on a handguard. Obviously, you're not going to want to run just a set of iron sights, so you've got anywhere from 150 to
up,
way higher than that. A Steiner, I think, was like. To just say it was a lot more than that, but
yeah, we leave dollar amounts out of this.
My watch this, so it was more than that, but you know,
more than $1 and less than $1 million.
Yes,
so we've narrowed it down.
A lot less than $1 million, so that's good. Trigger's going to cost you 150 to
250 for a good
250 to 300. I think is probably the higher side of what I've seen. Until you get into one of those really cool guy ones that like fires on the pull and fires on the release, the binaries and the echoes and so forth. They're kind of neat. They're a fun toy and as close to
full auto as you can legally get.
Yeah, you said that.
Unless you have the paperwork.
Yeah, which is very difficult to get. Short of being in the military or in law enforcement. Grip, you got 10 to $20 on a grip, 30 to a couple hundred, depending on what kind of a stock you want to go with.
PRS stock's about $250.
Charging handles are 50 to $100. So you can nickel and dime it as you go. The cool part about that is you end up with a box of parts. and then at some point you start organizing your parts, and then you go, well, I might as well just pick up another upper and a lower, and then I can just have a whole new gun out of all the parts that I have sitting here.
Yep.
And then you end up building one that looks a lot like that, but it's got a different upper and lower, and then you're like, but I really don't like that handguard, I never did. I'll just go ahead and swap out the handguard for something, and then I swap out the charging handle and swap out the trigger, and before you know it, you got a box of parts, and you're like, well, I might as well pick up another lower. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of one of those fun things that you just kind of go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. And if you guys pick something up for an AR, if you have more of a standard rifle like this one, and you go with a rail, go with sights, trigger assembly, and you really don't feel confident, one of the benefits about us is if you buy them here, we'll install it for you for free. Most of the times we can do it while you wait. As long as you're a little patient with us. And if it's on the weekend, it's a little crazy, but usually we can get it done.
Yeah, and if you have a fixed front sight, please understand that the banging that you hear, you're not trying to destroy your gun. We're just trying to get that thing off.
Yeah. There is a machine that puts these two little pins right down in here in there.
And they're tapered, and they don't
the
like
machine
to
is
come out.
not very nice.
No, they don't like to come out. So
But-
if you hear the beating and the banging, we're not going to ruin your gun. We're just trying to get the thing apart so we can put it back together.
I do have a special tool back there now that clamps around that lines the punch up perfectly, so you're actually only hitting the pin.
Fancy upgrades.
Yeah.
So see, you may not hear as much banging anymore, or at least maybe not as much cussing.
Oh, I never cuss. I like beating on stuff.
That's true, you do. So we got any questions or anything, Phil?
No,
No
got a few
question?
comments on different stuff, but no questions about anything.
What kind of comments? Anything?
Just talking about how, building the ARs. Sky had said that he had several guns before he really got into ARs. Now he has seven different lengths and calibers. He built every one. The learning process is great. It translated to me being more knowledgeable in all my other guns, lever, bolt action, you name it, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. It's like a gateway drug. You get going on one, and then you start learning about them and the function and how the action works and how the overall systems work, and kind of drives you to want to know a little bit more about other ones.
And there is a little bit of fun of one-upping your buddy, too.
Right, yeah, and you can be like, well, yeah, but I got this, and so you're like,
Oh, yeah, well, that's-
I just
I
did
built this.
And you're like, oh, well, let me do some more stuff to it. And you can make them all different. This one's more of just like my beater gun. It'll eat anything. 16-inch barrel carbine length system. 14.5 with a mid-length gas system, so it kind of reduces that recoil impulse a little bit. And then the 17.7 with mid-length gas system. I run generally all full auto rated bolt carriers, full weight. I just find them to be a little more reliable. There's lightweight options out there.
Yeah.
When I built this one, I originally had a low mass carrier in there, and my problem was that it was running too fast for the magazine. So the bolt would go back and forth and come down on an empty chamber before the round could come up out of the magazine. So I started having hiccups that way. And it was like, okay, well, I can either try and adjust and run a heavier spring and so forth, but in this particular setup, it just made the most sense to just go to a standard full weight carrier, slowed it down enough, plus gives me the ability that, since I don't clean my guns,
Excuse me?
it carries.
Are you a relative of him?
Yeah, I don't see the point. I keep them lubed. I run good carriers that have nice coatings on them. I'm a big fan of
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm a
Quality
big
parts.
fan of the Adams Arms bolt carriers. Their life coat system. They start off with like a nickel boron coating, which gives it real slickness, and then a PVD over the top of that. So, like we were talking about, I've got this. I think it's this one here. It's got, I don't know, 15 or so thousand rounds on it, and still looks brand new. A little bit of carbon filing on the bottom of it, but there's no real wear on it. There's some gunk on there, but she still runs.
You get in the hard parts like that. I have a saying I tell people that you buy nice or you buy twice.
Yeah.
So just because you can get a nickel boron or a black nitrate bulk carrier group from XYZ website for 30 bucks.
That's awesome, but mine run.
Yeah, it might work. More than likely you'll be bringing in here going, hey, I just put this together and it won't work. What's wrong?
Yeah.
So just keep in mind there are good deals on parts out there. We see them all the time.
Yeah.
But be
budget-minded. Just
yeah.
Don't be in a rush. Don't be in a rush. Be careful at gun shows.
Yes, be very careful at gun shows.
$300 upper sounds like a really good deal. It may even look like a really good deal, but grab somebody that knows what they're looking at. And there are little things like forging marks that you can find on the uppers and the lowers, and that'll tell you where the thing was actually forged at. There's not a whole lot of companies out there that are actually doing the forgings.
I think there's 4.
No, it's I want to say like 13.
Really?
It's up to like 13 companies now. Because there has been quite an addition to different companies that are jumping on board. A lot of companies do things for other companies, so that's a thing. But the forging marks will really at least tell you where that base forging was done. So as long as it runs, that's the final machining. Generally speaking, if it runs, it's going to continue to run because the actual forgings are done from a reputable company.
Right.
If you don't have any forging marks, good luck to you. Fingers crossed that everything goes well and it runs for a while. But
most of your quality especially the uppers, I don't know if you can see it, right above the forward assist is where your forging mark will be. And they have different indicators, different marks for, like Chris was saying, where they came from.
Yeah, this one's got a keyhole.
Yeah, this one's a keyhole. There's a H that kind of looks like an A.
It's another keyhole. Yeah,
just kind of keep that in mind when you're picking out parts for a build.
Yeah, you don't have to spend a bunch of money, but spend enough. You will literally get what you pay for on both ends of that spectrum. Yep. There's unneeded. There's a too cheap, and then there's a too expensive.
Maybe instead of the big flat bottom sniper precision grip, you get a Magpul or a Hogue and spend a little bit more money, or your bolt carrier, or your rail, or comp, or an optic.
The majority of your money should be spent on like I said, a trigger, a barrel, and then comfort.
Yep.
Because that's really all the rest of it is just the comfort factor. Good carrier is nice to have. It will make some reliability changes. Muzzle brake is going to definitely help with follow-up shots and recoil impulse. There's a bazillion different options out there, from flame-throwing dudes to super loud to flash hiders, which really just mitigate that explosion out of the end of the barrel. Sights are nice. There's a ton of different options out there. There's some good budget stuff. There's some really good expensive stuff. So if you have any questions, feel free to come on in. A lot of our guys here have built their own. There are some really good options. Now, if you're getting away from 5.56 and you're getting into one of the weird like 9mm or 40 cals or the 10mm that I keep hearing about, 45s, all these oddball variations, those are things that I would generally say don't build them. I've seen a lot of those get built, and if you don't have that thing really dialed in, you start wearing out parts really fast.
Yeah.
When you go with something that's built by a reputable company, they run, and you don't have near the problems that you do when you build them. The 223, 5.56, most of those parts are all pretty easy to throw together, and you can pretty much get anything to run as long as it's of a decent quality.
Yeah. And the other cool thing is most of your ARs are mil spec anyway. So you can take any one of these ARs we have in here today, take all the parts, take them all apart, throw them on the floor, put them back together, this spring in this one, this trigger in this one, they'll all go back together, they'll all run.
Yep.
This barrel and that upper, they'll all run.
Yeah.
which is
And you
awesome.
can get into, like I said, the weird stuff. You can get into, 6.5 Grendel, 6.5, or the, what's some of the other ones?
300 Blackout.
300 Blackout's another really awesome one. There's a lot of weird oddball
50
stuff
Beowulf.
out there, the 50 Beowulfs, and then you can get into the AR-10 platform, which is just like a bigger version. That's where you really start having to know some things
And start spending a lot of money.
about which ones you're going with. That's where you start getting into different height rails and different styles and so forth. You got some oddballs out there. You got some intermediate ones that are not quite full AR-10, not quite AR-15. You got ones that take the funny curved magazines at the bottom. So
I didn't bring my AR-10 today.
Yeah, we figured it'd be easier just to kind of focus on the AR-15. See if you guys have any questions about those things. So.
Same basic platform, just a little bigger.
Yep, a little bigger. That's when you get into the weird calibers, the long-range calibers, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308.
Do they make a 338 Lapua AR?
I don't think so. The largest that I've fired is a 300 Win Mag, and that was the Petra from Nemo Arms a couple of years ago, and that
Sounds
thing
kinda
is
fun.
awesome. It is awesome. It doesn't hit any harder than a standard 308. It shoots really awesome, but when you buy one of those, it comes with a maintenance schedule. So after 500 rounds, you got to replace these parts. After 1,000 rounds, you got to replace these parts.
That's awesome.
Out of 1,500 rounds, you got to replace these parts. We were talking about 300 Win Mag. It's not built for like 3-gun competitions, 2-gun competitions. It's built for, I'm going to Colorado and I need to shoot
An elk or a bear.
400, 600 meters, and I need to put this elk down now. So it's a bit of an oddball.
Yeah, you're not going to clear your house with it.
No.
Well, you will, and your
Although,
neighbors and your other
yeah,
neighbors.
You definitely could.
Or the one I'm putting together, I'm building a 458 SOCOM pistol, 7.5 inches.
Which is the only gun, is the Anvil from CMFG, that's the only AR that I've fired yet that actually left a bruise on my shoulder. What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong.
Okay. Sam just wanted
Sam's on time.
Weird face, weird look on her face. So, but yeah, so ARs, they're fun stuffs, and you can make them your own very, very easily.
And from anywhere from a little bit of money to kind of the sky's the limit.
Yeah, yeah. You can build them for, like we talked about, you can get down into the low, I'd say $500-600 mark if you
For something quality that's
if
going
you
to
really pay attention to what you're doing and you really wait for some sales and so forth. $500 to $600, you can put together a pretty nice rifle. Not necessarily something that starts off looking plain Jane. Something that's going to have some upgrades into it, and then you can get like really. I mean, it's almost difficult to put a gun together for over 1,600-ish.
Yeah.
Not including optics, but building your own $1,800 is about where you kind of top out. Unless you go hog wild crazy, and they've got billet ambidextrous lowers and uppers and all kinds of weird
Lefties
stuff like that, lefties, and then you can get up over that $2,000 mark. But generally speaking, to get over $2,000, you're going to have to go with something factory built.
Get into a Daniel or something like that.
Something really funky. So I don't know. You got anything else?
That's kind of it. Come take the class. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, and that's the, what days?
July 13th to 14th. It's a
13th,
Saturday and
14th,
Sunday.
Sunday.
8 hours each day.
So,
We do it right here in the building. We supply everything. The guns, the tools, handouts. All you need to show up with is a pen and an open mind.
Yep. All right.
It's kind of a pretty reasonable class.
Yeah. Simple, easy, and then you'll have all the knowledge that you need in order to start making some fun purchases and building your own. So,
That's all.
get
I
out there and
got.
build some stuff.
Unless anybody's got any questions for us.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Phil
Hale.
keeps shaking his head, just comments, nothing, no questions. So,
That's Hale.
yes. That's awesome.
New paint job.
Not exciting. So, since it's raining and then we don't have a whole lot more to go over,
No.
We will
We
catch
should go
you
down and
guys
shoot a bunch of these.
next week. Come in, like I said, this weekend, Marine Corps charity match.
Yeah.
Come in. They've got guns are given away.
Hats,
I think
t-shirts
they've
for
got
sale.
Heiser that's coming in with guns they're
Fundraisers.
giving away. They've got a 19X that they're giving away.
Yep.
They've got a Daimler Defense they're giving away.
They do some
all
pretty
through
cool
raffles.
giveaways.
I also want to say thank you guys for helping us support Backstoppers with the Jerry Mitchell signed pistol
Yep.
giveaway.
That was awesome.
We will be doing that on Monday, so we will be drawing the name on Monday for the winner of that. So you still have a little bit of time. I want to say we have 20-ish tickets left, I think.
That ain't many.
We sold a bunch of them the other day, so there is still time for that. We've got plenty of posts on there.
Even if you don't want the pistol, it still goes to an awesome
Yeah,
cause.
every dime that we collect from it, John's already told us that he doesn't want anything for the gun, so we don't have to take any of that out. So we're up, I believe,
100%.
over $1,500 in donations on that one. So remember, the more money that you raise, the better chances that we have of getting John down in front of everybody, holding up a big check.
Oh, and he hates that.
Yeah, he does, but he said he'd do it because of what he's doing, and he's pretty excited about giving a big check away to Backstoppers. So that's
You need to put him in a dump
that's
tank.
awesome. We talked about that. We got some plans maybe on that. So shoot us some questions as usual.
Marine Corps League match.
Marine Corps League match, I want to say is
60,
40 or 60,
45 or
like that.
65?
I think it's 65.
I think it's 65 too.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I want to say 65%.
And it comes with some goodies
that
too,
comes
doesn't
with
it?
lunch and your t-shirt.
Lunch and a t-shirt,
Right.
so that's normally an extra, bunch of money you end up throwing out, but
And you get to hang out with some cool guys too.
heck yeah, like Kerry's an awesome dude, so. And there'll be fun stages,
$60.
60 bucks.
60.
I'm posting the link right now. I just posted a link to the Jerry pistol.
Awesome.
And I'll post a link to the
So Phil's got a bunch of the links for Jerry Pistol, the Marine Corps match, anything that you can help with that, guys. Remember, on the pistol, it's 1 for 25, 5 for 100. You can buy multiples. I don't mind at all.
We only got 20 left.
Yeah, so we got roughly about 20 left, so one person can buy all of them. I don't mind. So, there's nothing else. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Are you ready?